Let me ask you something. Have you ever gotten lost in a city you've never visited before? Even with a phone in your hand, it still happens. A wrong turn, a missed street, and suddenly you're confused. Now imagine doing something much harder. Imagine traveling thousands of kilometers, crossing oceans, deserts, and mountains. With no phone, no compass, no map, no teacher, and still arriving at the exact location perfectly year after year. That is not a human ability. But it's normal for many animals. Migratory birds leave one continent and return to the same breeding ground every year. Sea turtles hatch on a beach, crawl into the ocean, disappear for years, and somehow return to the same region later in life. Monarch butterflies migrate across countries, even though the butterfly that arrives is often not the same one that left. So how do they do it? For a long time, people assumed it was simple. Maybe they follow the sun. Maybe they follow the stars. Maybe they memorize landmarks. And yes, some animals do use those. But here's the problem. Many animals can still navigate when the sky is cloudy, when the stars are hidden, or when they are far away from landmarks. So scientists began to suspect something else. Something invisible. Something built into their bodies. A sense humans don't have. Most people don't think about this, but Earth is not just a rock floating in space. Earth is also a giant magnet. Deep inside the planet, molten iron is moving. And that movement generates a magnetic field. That field surrounds the Earth like an invisible bubble. It's the reason compasses work. But it's also the reason we have protection from solar radiation. And here's where it gets fascinating. Animals may be using this magnetic field like a navigation system. Not like Google Maps with a screen, but like an internal compass and sometimes even a map. Scientists call this ability magnetoreception, meaning the ability to sense magnetic fields. And this is not just theory. There is strong experimental evidence that magnetoreception exists. It has been observed in migratory birds, sea turtles, salmon, sharks and rays, butterflies, bees, ants, and even tiny bacteria. So if this is real, then animals have an entire sense that humans simply do not experience. And that raises a bigger question. What else is happening around us that we don't even notice? Now, you might be thinking, okay, animals can sense magnetism. That's cool. But this is not like sensing heat, or smell, or vibration. This sense is extremely strange because Earth's magnetic field is weak. It's not like a refrigerator magnet. It's not like an electric motor. It's incredibly subtle. Yet animals can detect it and respond to it with shocking accuracy. And here's the most mysterious part. Scientists still don't fully agree on how it works. We know it happens. But the mechanism inside the body is still debated. That's why magnetoreception is often called the most elusive sense in nature. So today, in this video, we're going to explore which animals use this secret sense, what experiments proved it, the two leading scientific theories, and why this could change our understanding of life itself. Let's start with the most famous navigators, birds. Every year, millions of birds migrate. Some travel from northern Europe to Africa. Some fly from Canada to South America. Some cross entire oceans. And the crazy part is, they don't just fly in a random direction. They fly with precision. They know when to leave. They know where to stop. They know where to land. Even young birds who have never migrated before still head in the correct direction. That's one of the biggest clues. Because if a young bird has never seen the route, then it can't be memory. It must be something built in. Scientists tested this in controlled experiments. They placed birds in special cages and altered the magnetic field around them using coils. When the magnetic field direction was changed, the birds changed their orientation. They didn't see anything different, but their bodies felt it. This strongly suggested birds can sense Earth's magnetic field, not as a theory, but as a real biological ability. Now let's talk about sea turtles. This part is honestly one of the most mind-blowing. An olive ridley turtle hatchling is tiny. It hatches at night. It crawls toward the ocean. It enters the water and begins a journey that will last years. No parent guides it. No training. And yet it swims in the correct direction. How? Researchers discovered that turtles respond to two key magnetic features. 1. Magnetic intensity. This is how strong the magnetic field is in a region. 2. Magnetic inclination. This is the angle at which magnetic field lines enter the Earth. Together, these two signals can create something like a coordinate system. Meaning turtles may not only have a compass. They may have a magnetic map. Some scientists believe turtles can sense. I'm too far north. I'm too far south. I'm in the right current zone. This is like a GPS, built into a creature that just hatched. And that's why magnetoreception is so important. It's not just about direction. It's about location. Now let's move to insects. Monarch butterflies migrate across North America. Some travel from Canada all the way to Mexico. But here's the shocking detail. The butterflies that arrive in Mexico are often a different generation. Meaning, the butterfly making the trip has never done it before. So how can it know the route? Scientists discovered monarchs use the sun as a compass, an internal clock in their body, and Earth's magnetic field as a backup system. So if the sun disappears behind clouds, they can still orient themselves. Now let's go deeper. Magnetoreception isn't limited to flying animals. Fish like salmon can return to the river where they were born. Sharks and rays may use the magnetic field while traveling in the ocean. Even bees and ants show magnetic sensitivity. So when you step back and look at it, you realize something. Magnetoreception may be one of the most common senses in nature. We just don't notice it. Because we don't have it. So now we reach the biggest question. How can a living body detect magnetism? One major theory is based on something called magnetite. Magnetite is a naturally magnetic mineral. It exists in rocks. But scientists also found microscopic magnetite particles inside some living organisms. If an animal has tiny magnetite crystals in its body, those crystals could align with Earth's magnetic field, like a compass needle. And when the crystals shift or rotate, nerves could detect that movement. This would give the animal a sense of direction. Some studies suggest magnetite may exist in fish, insects, sea turtles, birds. At one point, scientists thought birds had magnetite in their beaks. But later research complicated that idea. Some findings were disputed. And that's one reason this mystery continues. Because magnetite evidence is strong in some animals, but unclear in others. Now we move to the second theory. And this is where things become almost unbelievable. Some scientists believe birds may see the magnetic field. Not like seeing a tree or a cloud, but seeing it as a pattern. This theory focuses on a molecule in the eye called cryptochrome. Cryptochrome is light sensitive. When light hits it, it triggers chemical reactions. And those reactions may be influenced by Earth's magnetic field. Scientists call this process the radical pair mechanism. This is linked to quantum biology. In simple words, a chemical reaction inside the bird's eye may behave differently depending on the magnetic field direction. That difference could create a visual signal. So the bird might experience the magnetic field as bright and dark regions, directional shading, or a kind of internal arrow overlay, like an invisible compass in its vision. And yes, this is one of the rare places where quantum physics may directly affect animal behavior. So why don't we have a final answer yet? Why is magnetoreception still debated? Because studying it is extremely difficult. First, Earth's magnetic field is weak. Second, animals are sensitive to stress. In lab environments, their natural behavior can change. Third, the mechanism may not be the same in every species. Birds may use cryptochrome. Fish may use magnetite. Turtles may use a combination. And here's another complication. Modern human environments are full of electromagnetic noise. Phones, Wi-Fi, power lines, radio signals. Some studies suggest this noise can interfere with animal navigation. Meaning, human technology may be disturbing an ancient biological system. And that is both fascinating and a little scary. Now let's step back. Because this story is bigger than birds and turtles. Magnetoreception reminds us of something important. Humans are not the standard. We think we experience the full world. But we don't. Animals have senses we cannot imagine. Dogs smell a world of information. Bees see ultraviolet patterns on flowers. Bats hear sound in ways that create a map. And birds may see magnetic directions. So the world is not just what we see. The world is filled with invisible layers. And different creatures experience different versions of reality. Now here's the exciting part. Scientists are not studying magnetoreception only for curiosity. They want to learn from it. Because if animals can navigate without satellites, then humans might build technology that can do the same. Possible future applications include navigation systems that work underground, underwater navigation for submarines, drone guidance without GPS, robots that navigate like migrating birds, new understanding of how the brain processes weak signals. And there's even a medical angle. If cryptochrome and radical pair reactions are real, it could open new doors in understanding brain chemistry, nervous system sensitivity, and biological reactions to electromagnetic fields. So next time you see a bird flying high in the sky, or a butterfly crossing your garden, or a turtle crawling toward the sea, remember this. They are not just moving randomly. They may be following an invisible map. A map written into the planet itself. A secret sense. A sense humans don't have. And this is what makes nature so incredible. Because even in 2026, even with all our technology, there are still mysteries living right in front of us. Hidden in the eyes of a bird. Hidden in the body of a turtle. Hidden in the wings of a butterfly. Earth is not only a home. It is also a compass. And some animals can feel it.
Subscribe Info Beyond Borders now for more mind-blowing knowledge.